All right, I think I am live. All right, give me just a second and we'll get going here. Got a couple things to talk about. All right, looks like live stream is working. And hopefully you guys can hear me. If you can't hear me, I see that y'all are on there. Let me know. Let's go over a few cool things about this month of April, even though times are wild right now. All right, so let's talk about 420. 420 all month. However, it's going to be probably 420 unlike any other one. Depending on where you're at, there are different declarations, I guess would be the right word for it, of emergency or shelter in place, or all kinds of different edicts have been put out about how we can try to best protect ourselves and the high-risk community. Ooh. Excuse me. That was really loud. I'm sorry about that. Okay, so talking about COVID-19, I think a lot of people who are cannabis consumers probably recently saw that the DC office put out a really great directive on how to handle this and what to be thoughtful about. Of course, since we know a little bit more about how the virus transmits, no more puff puff pass, which 420 is something that communities and cultures have been doing for millennia, is sharing this plant. And so it's going to take a little bit of an effort probably for some of us to not do that if you are in the situation where you are not by yourself. So basically rely on your own supply. Make sure you have what you need. Since it's a respiratory illness, NORML is also saying that, be really cautious about smoking and vaping. Reduce your exposure to that. Vape only high quality cannabis if you can. Use tinctures, edibles, topicals. These are other methods that you can use to consume the plant. And of course, in Texas, we were talking about EVALI, which is the lung issues that were happening from people vaping illicit cartridges, black market cartridges, if you will. And there were some hearings regarding this in Texas, so it'll be interesting to see what comes of that, but it just goes to show that since in Texas we do not have a full adult use market, it is going to be probably more difficult for us to do the next step, which is to make sure that you know where your cannabis comes from, making sure that it doesn't have any, molds or pesticides or anything like that. I'm getting some alerts. Sorry about that, guys. So that's hard in Texas, where we have a limited medical cannabis program. It's really just a low THC program, and we do have hemp businesses that are out and able to offer products. But of course, we know that some of these businesses and products are more reputable than others, so we have to really practice caution in that. So make sure that you are. Since we have a few more people on, I'll go back from the beginning. COVID-19, respiratory illness. So therefore, we need to make sure that we're being thoughtful in reducing our smoking or our vaping. If you are vaping, making sure that it's high quality cannabis that doesn't have additives, molds, any pesticides or anything like that. And trying alternative methods of uptake, maybe something like tinctures or edibles, topicals, something like that, if you're able to access it. And of course, remembering that in Texas, since there is no adult use market, you have to be very careful with what you're getting off of the black market. And of course, with the issues with EVALI, the lung issues surrounding vaping, some of these black market cartridges, we need to make sure that we're being really thoughtful. And I know that the Texas Compassionate Use Program here in Texas, there are 3 licensees, and they are considered essential businesses. So for those patients, they are getting their medicine delivered to them. So that is great to know that that is happening. And of course, for people who want to find a legal alternative and are not able to access the Texas Compassionate Use Program, a lot of people have been using CBD and hemp products. And so there are many businesses like that. I mean, many businesses like that all across Texas. And some of these businesses have been forced to shutter. Some of them are contesting that they are essential businesses because they do fill this gap, right? Where people who need access, who are patients, who maybe wouldn't be able to otherwise get access to low THC cannabis, are able to get that through these businesses. Now, of course, there's a caveat to that. Texas is still finalizing all of our hemp regulations here. So right now, the onus is really on the consumer to make sure that you're buying a reputable brand. So be careful about that. And then also to touch on the hemp program, I know a lot of people were wondering, what's going to happen with the growers, what's going to happen with the next steps with the human consumables, manufacturing, licensing, and all of that. And so what we're seeing is that the hemp licensing is still continuing. They're doing it in virtual land, so that is really nice. The first license was awarded to a clean farmer, and I'm sure that there will be more continuing to come out over the next days. And the Department of State Health Services is still working on their human consumable hemp product regulations, and that would oversee these products that the patients are using that can't access the Texas Compassionate Use Program. But then we also have all of the patients who perhaps need more THC than are provided through both Teacup and these legal businesses, and many of these patients are relegated to the black market. And we did discuss, some of these safety measures that NORML is advising that people take. And so one of those being know your cannabis is very difficult whenever you live in a prohibition state. So to multiple ends, we have teamed up with the coalition Texans for, actually, you know what, real quick, I have a link that I'm going to share in the comments here. Where did I put it? Because I want you guys to be able to, sorry, I don't know what happened there. It paused there for a second. But what I was looking for is a link for you guys to the DC office's memo about the COVID-19 situation. So I'm going to drop that here in the comments. And then COVID-19 from NORML. So you'll find that information there. It talks a little bit about the advice that the executive director got. You'll have a link there. It also talks a little bit about some unfounded claims that are being made in the CBD market. Of course, we know that there are lots of wonderful, beautiful products that are made out of hemp or low THC cannabis. And so making sure that we are really thoughtful in the assertions that we make about the products is very important. So you will be able to now find that in the comments. Sorry about that pause there. All right, going back to our action. So we were talking about how the lack of a legal market here for Texans creates a lot of issues. We also were talking about some of the really large limitations that our program has. And we, in the time of, this pandemic where it is believed to be shared very, very easily and to be highly contagious, we need to also be really thoughtful about people who are being arrested. So if you're on this stream, you may be from Texas. And if you are, then you know that hemp was just recently legalized. We have a low THC medical cannabis program that's very restricted. But other than that, we do not have other access. So people are still being arrested. A lot of places are choosing to do cite and summons. So we're seeing some of the harm mitigated through some policies that they're able to do within their their purview, but we still are seeing, for example, from DPS, they put out a letter recently that said that 80,000 Texans were arrested for cannabis. So that's 80,000 interactions with the law enforcement that really shouldn't be happening. We want to make sure that we're keeping Texans safe, but also making sure that we're reevaluating as a state how we are choosing to utilize our resources. I don't know that a lot of cops are still choosing to arrest during this time, but what our request is in our action alert is that the governor call an immediate moratorium to all marijuana possession arrests in the state. And the reason that this is really important is because I mentioned the high number of arrests, but I want to share some other information for you. I'm going to look at my computer, which is over here, so sorry about that. But for example, and this was as of about a week ago, so these numbers may have changed, but in Dallas, 1 detention officer and 10 inmates have tested positive for COVID. In Houston, 1 man is positive, 30 are showing symptoms, and over 500 have been exposed. And in San Antonio, 1 officer tested positive and came in contact with several colleagues and as many as 30 drivers during traffic stops. So, this is a public health issue, and we want to make sure that these interactions are not happening. In some of these shelter-in-place situations, a lot of people are not traveling anyways, but this is still an important public health issue, and especially as eventually we all get back into the quote-unquote normal everyday lifestyle, getting back to our situations, we need to make sure that we are still reducing those interactions that law enforcement have to both keep law enforcement from getting sick, to keep the public from getting ill, and also to prevent people from being inside jails, because there are some issues with bail right now because of one of the proclamations that the governor made. I am not fully read up on that, so I won't talk about that too much. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to share the action link in the comments below. It will allow you to email the governor, and it will also allow you to email your Texas state representative or senator so that you can ask them to support these actions. Then we also talk about a special session. So for those of you who know, a special session is something that the governor can call for any reason, and he states his purpose. So he creates the agenda that is going to be addressed. And so whenever it's safe to do so, if the governor is going to call a special session, or if the legislative session comes first, whichever, we want to make sure that we are addressing 2 items. First of all, discussing the adult use market and allowing it in Texas. We've talked about the age being at 21. There's also very thoughtful arguments being made for 18. But in the state of Texas, to smoke tobacco or to drink alcohol, you have to be 21. So it kind of falls in line with what they're doing already. Although there is robust conversation about at which point in your life are you an adult. So that is a whole nother conversation. But to talk about, we in Texas are likely to have a budgetary shortfall, which we don't normally have. And so this is an avenue where, with reasonable taxation, we can bring funds into Texas. We can reduce, the criminal market, not criminal market, but the black market, if you will, the illicit market. And we can make sure that Texans, in any situation like this moving forward, would be able to make sure that they have access to safe cannabis and alternative uptake methods, because on the black market, it's not necessarily easy to get edibles, which is one of the things that it's probably a good idea to try to do instead of smoke inhalation. So in addition to that, expanding the Texas Compassionate Use Program. We have talked many times about some of the things that we think could be done to perfect it. And of course, that is making sure that doctors can decide what kind of ratios and cannabinoids that patients use instead of the legislature deciding. As you may know, legal hemp products have 0.3% THC. Our Texas Compassionate Use Program has 0.5% THC. And for some people, like cancer patients or PTSD patients, they simply need more THC to treat their conditions. And so the doctors should be able to decide that. And we talk about a few other things that we want to have covered as well. But with a more robust medical market, we would make sure that so many of these patients in Texas are having access to this medicine, having it delivered to them, like the patients that are enrolled in the Texas Compassionate Use Program now have access to. So let me go ahead and take and post this action. All right, so last I looked, we had a couple thousand people who had participated in it. So if you have not participated in it, please do. If you have the opportunity to share it with your friends and colleagues, please do that as well. We want to make sure that they are hearing from Texans about this because really, in this time where we're so separated from each other and not able to gather together and do events and rally, we really have to step up our virtual activism and think of new and creative ways to engage with the legislature. Of course, the governor is very busy with a great many important things right now, but I think that I clearly explained how a moratorium on arrests at this time would definitely be beneficial, not just for the citizens, but for law enforcement as well. So enhancing our virtual activism is something that we are going to continue to brainstorm on and be thoughtful about. So I am interested in any feedback from you guys, the public, as to what you think we could do to engage and to have some effect. So moving on to some other 420 related things, we are doing, hold on, it looked like my internet dropped for a second there. Am I good? I think I'm good. Hi, hello. Oh, let me look at these comments real quick before I go to the next thing in case anybody has questions. Moving back to Oklahoma. You know, Oklahoma has some pretty good medical let doctors decide type standard there, so that's pretty awesome. Grow your own, that's going to be a really important conversation because, for example, right now, if you were to run out of your cannabis, you could simply plant a seed and you would have some more pretty soon. So that's very important. Hi, Romana. I see you. Ben says that they are doing curbside down at Go Green Botanicals. So that is a CBD store, FYI. So some places, these stores are still open. Some places they are not. Some CBD stores have adjusted really quickly and really well to doing delivery. So sounds like they are doing curbside. Not sure if they are also doing delivery. Hello, Terry from Colleen. Hi, Jessica. Hi, David. Taxed to death. So we definitely want to be thoughtful about the taxes, David, for sure. And that's why I was saying we want to make sure that the revenue stream is something that's adequate, but that it is a low enough tax rate that it doesn't continue to harbor the illicit market. Because we've seen in some states where it's overtaxed, people will continue to go with what they can afford. So that is an important talking point. Every time you donate to a candidate, make it $4.20 and they will understand. Jessica says, or $42 even. All right, cool. So, $4.20. We are doing a really cool limited edition item. So you guys know about every quarter we come up with these one-off things that people order in advance, and then we order as many as these people want, and then that's it. Hi, Lauren. Good to see you. So the one that we are choosing to feature this month is this jar. So we have a couple different type of jars that we've done over the years. I like this one a lot because, well, first of all, as you guys know, we are very supported by this company called 420 Science. Like when they moved to Texas, they immediately started supporting and helping in activism just by always giving us, great products and supporting and doing all of this stuff. So they are all made in America and they are in Austin. And though they are having to take, quarantine type pandemic, what is the word I'm looking for? I can't remember it. But they've instituted some processes to maintain really great sanitation and had to cut back, but they are still processing and making products and delivering them. And so they have created this awesome pop top clear jar, and it has a really awesome logo on it that was, I just posted the link to it, that was created by the executive director of DFW NORML. His name is Sean, and he does really, really great graphics and artwork. So he created the logo with me, and then we got the jar mocked up by 420 Science, so you can buy them now. They'll be available for the whole month of April to purchase them. They are only $20, and then we will order them on May 1st, and as soon as we get them, we will mail them straight to you. And I think that when you look at it and you see that really cool logo, you'll know how much it will pop against the green once the green's inside of it, that all that hemp flower that you have. Okay, I see a couple more comments. I'm going to check real quick. The shirt that I am wearing. So if you go to the shop on Texas NORML, so just go to texasnormal.org, hit shop, and you'll find these blue and yellow shirts available on that link. So that's where you can find that, Larry. Yes, yay for purple, Jessica. Love it. Okay, so let me talk about the next thing that is big for 420. So also, just so you know, I'm like normal shirt on top, pajama pants on the bottom. I'm pretty sure like everyone's living that life right now, so I hope that you're okay with that. But the other really awesome thing that we are doing is we are putting together a 420 Stream-A-Thon. April is always a really big month for Texas NORML. 420 is going on. Typically Reggae Fest is happening. We're invited to all kinds of fun events, and it's a big fundraising month for us, where we typically are able to raise enough funds to make us through a substantial part of the year. And unfortunately, we are in a pandemic at the same time. So what we are going to do is continue to pivot towards making things virtual and available to people. We've moved all of our monthly meetings to the virtual space until we are able to get back into Flamingo Cantina. Our Flamingo family, we miss them a lot. We're there once a month. They've been supporters for years and years and years, and it's hard to see them shuttered and struggling. So shout out to Flamingo Cantina. They have a GoFundMe. If you've ever been there and you want to help keep that iconic reggae spot open, please support them. We love them very much. But to that end, also, the owner of Flamingo Cantina helps coordinate the Austin Reggae Fest. And the Reggae Fest goes to benefit the food bank here in Texas, or in Austin, excuse me. And they've always let NORML participate there and talk at the 420 spot every day. And it's for such a great cause, not just, our cause for legalizing cannabis, but also, feeding Austin's hungry population. And unfortunately, it had to be canceled. It would have been next weekend. And of course, you guys know right now, there's a lot of people that are having trouble finding enough food. And so there have been really long lines trying to get access, and it's a shame that had to be canceled. But we want to still, in this time where we're like alone but not alone, we wanted to kind of make a virtual space where we can all gather together on 420 and talk about all things cannabis, right? And so to that end, we came up with the idea of the Stream-A-Thon, and it's going to be about 5 hours of content. Yes, I said 5 hours of content. It's a lot, but we wanted people to be able to just have it on during their day while they're going about. I know some people will be able to tune in and then have to do things and tune out, but we have already, in just like 2 days, because we have such a great community, we've already been able to lock in 16 speakers and 2 musical acts. So we are really, really excited about this. And I have to say, a little bit selfishly, I kind of feel like I'm planning a party for myself. where I get to hang out with the cool activists and like chat with my friends online and talk about marijuana all day on 420. I'm really excited for it, and I'm hopeful that you guys will be able to join us. So let's talk about what we're going to, 4 hours and 20 minutes. That would be great, but we're going to go a little bit longer than that. Hold on real quick before I go. Hi, Trish and Lacey and Carlos. Oh, Carlos is one of the speakers. Hi, Carlos. Streaming the party. That's right. We are going to be streaming a party, but it's also an educational party, right? So on Monday, 420, hi Nico, starting at 12:30, we are going to live stream, hopefully through our YouTube and through Facebook. Excuse me. I did not mean to cough in your ear. But we are going to be live streaming some amazing content. And I'm going to talk about the people that we've got already secured and the topics they're going to be talking about. But just to let you guys know, we don't have the official timed out agenda yet. I will have it available to you hopefully in the next day or two. I have to work out a few things, and we still have a few people that we want to hear back from. Hi, Marcelia. So we are going to have... First of all, let me get my pin so I can make sure I get everybody, because there's a lot of people. So first of all, we are going to have a section dedicated to like political and legislative items. And we are really, really fortunate to have Representative Joe Moody from El Paso join us. If you have been following what's been happening up at the Capitol at all over the last several sessions, you know that he has been spearheading the fight to remove the criminal consequences that are associated with possession in Texas. And he was actually Speaker Pro Tem in the last session, and he is going to be joining us to talk about looking ahead at the 87th legislature and what can we expect. Of course, a lot of things may change in how they host the legislative session due to COVID, but we are very, very fortunate to have Representative Joe Moody join us. And additionally, if you guys, where's the after party going to be? Private session? Girl, text me, Ro. So we also, if you are familiar with Senator Jose Menendez, he and his office really have pushed for whole plant comprehensive medical cannabis program. And Dwight Clark used to be on his staff and really worked hard with all of the moms and veterans out there that were fighting hard for their kids. And recently he has had the awesome opportunity to move to Colorado. I'm just a tiny bit jealous, just a tiny bit. And now he works for Vicente Sederberg, which, if you're not familiar, it's a very prominent cannabis law firm, and he's a senior policy analyst and a technical writer. And so we're going to have the opportunity to talk policy with him and talk about best practices with both policy and with engaging with legislators. So I think that that is going to be a really great segment. Additionally, you guys, I'm sure, know Heather Fazio. She is the director for Texans for Responsible Marijuana Policy, and she is going to be talking about what we need to know about the upcoming conventions and the elections. Things are changing. It's a little bit wild, so she'll be giving us a great update. And then from the DC office, our political director, Justin Streckel for NORML, he'll be giving us a legislative update about what's happening at the federal level. There are some things that are still moving and some actions that can be done, but I'm looking forward to learning a little bit more about what we can do in this new day of virtual activism at the federal level to help make sure that we are pushing forward a little bit more. We are also going to have Austin from the Texas Cannabis Collective. If you guys follow that page, you know that they always have a lot of great fun and educational content. And he's going to talk a little bit about social media and how we can engage really effectively as advocates by keeping people engaged on the topic and making it also maybe a little bit fun. So we are going to also have Keith Strop. He's the founder of NORML, and he's their current legal counsel. And I don't know if you know this, but this month is the 50th anniversary of NORML being founded. And I think that's pretty awesome. And a lot of things have changed, and there's still a lot of work to do. So we're going to talk with Keith about 50 years and NORML's impact over the decades and what it's been like for him to watch the evolution. So I'm interested to hear from him about that. And as you guys know, Texas NORML was founded because he came down to visit with some UT students about people who were in jail for life for the minor possession of marijuana. I believe that there were 13 people at the time that were in jail for that. So he'll touch on that as well. And then we're also, so if you are just coming on now, just to let y'all know, I'm giving an overview of the 420 Stream-A-Thon that we are hosting on Monday, April the 20th at 12:30 p.m. Central. We have 16 different speakers. I've already covered a couple. I'm going to keep talking about each speaker and what their topic is going to be on. We are also going to have some people from the Texas NORML board. We're going to have Les Weiler. He's our membership director, and he's going to be talking about how you can help support reform right now. I know for some of us, right now it's really a difficult time for everybody, but it's difficult in very different ways. For some people, it's famine for their work and for their paycheck, and for some people it's feast, depending on what sector you're working in right now. So they're going to talk a little bit about that. We also are going to have Carlos Caro, who is the secretary for Texas NORML. He originally was with RGV NORML down by the border, and so he's going to talk a lot about the Texas border and the impacts of prohibition. Additionally, there's a gentleman named Phil Giroux, and he's a former sergeant with the Pflugerville Police Department. If you're familiar with the Austin area, Pflugerville is just slightly north of Austin, and he worked with their PD there, and he is no longer a law enforcement officer, but he is an advocate now for changing the laws. And so he's going to talk about law enforcement officers and decriminalization. Phil actually gave testimony at the ATX decrim resolution that was passed. And so I'm thankful that he's going to join us again to talk about this important topic. We're also going to have Dr. Dorina Duche. She is a veteran and a pharmacist. Excuse me. She's also the CEO of Curativo Hemp, and she's going to be talking about cannabis and drug interactions. So that is going to be really interesting. She did a little bit at our at a veterans seminar up in Halton City, talking about things to be thoughtful and careful of. And it was so informational that I'm really happy she agreed to come back and talk about it. Hi, Jared. So Jared, who is watching, is one of the musicians that I'm going to talk about in a minute. Also, some of you guys might know Anita, but you probably know her online as CBD Genie, and she is going to be talking about the endocannabinoid system and you, and she is a microbiologist. She's also a proud Air Force veteran, and she is working on a really great, excuse me, I had to all these notifications. She's working on a really great veteran initiative on her farm to help veterans through growing plants. So she is going to be talking about endocannabinoid system and you. We also will have Susan Hayes. She's a lawyer and a lobbyist, and she's going to talk about how COVID-19's budget implications might affect the 87th legislative session. And so I think that's going to be really important to keep in mind, how we can both be thoughtful and be helpful to our economy. We're also going to have Sal Barnes. He's the managing director of MPG Consulting, and he is actually in South Austin and works out of Denver. And he's going to talk about who's winning in cannabis, why, and a little bit of talking about potential implications for COVID-19. You probably also have heard of Lisa Pittman. She has been practicing law for 20 years. She's done several things with us in the past, and she is currently a member of the Texas Hemp Advisory Council, so she's going to be giving us an update. She's also let me know that if we are able to submit questions to her in advance of Thursday the 16th, she will be able to take those questions to her next council meeting and be able to try to get them answered for us. So I'm going to pause real quick, and I am going to get that link for you so that you can loading so that you can submit your questions. So again, excuse me, this link that I'm about to post is going to be submit your questions to the 420 Stream-A-Thon presenters, and you can specifically address questions to TDA and dishes, and she will try to get them answered for us. So let me post this now. Link to submit. Let's see if I can tag the event. Yes, at 420 Stream-A-Thon. Okay, so that's the link right there. Just placed it in the comments. Hi, Jessica. Hey, Lisa. Oh, I like to see all these people on here. I've missed all of your faces. Like, I really have. I have to tell you, planning this has been really fun to be able to like chat with people on the video and all that. So Lisa Pittman will give us a Texas hemp update. She will take any of those questions that you guys give to us and try to get them answered. So make sure that you click on that link to submit those questions. We're also going to have a lady named Heather Richmond. She's the CEO of US Hemp and Plastics, and she's going to talk about the future of hemp, both manufacturing and production. So we are going to have a whole kind of business and hemp section. And additionally on that, we're going to have, I mentioned Vicente Sederberg, the cannabis law firm earlier. They also have a partner named Sean Hauser. She's originally from Texas, and she practices up in Denver now with Dwight. Well, or Dwight practices with her, however you'd like to put it. But she's going to be talking about SBA loans, specifically for CBD and hemp businesses. So that is kind of the tack we're going to take with her. And then let's see, did I miss anybody? Hold on. We're also going to have, and this is the last in the list of speakers, retired Major David Bass. He is with Texas Veterans for Medical Marijuana. He also sits on the Texas NORML board, and he's going to talk about veterans on the front line and display some of the Operation Trapped items that we have and just kind of talk about that leading up to the session. Additionally, Carol, the link for Lisa is the one that says link to submit 420 Stream-A-Thon questions. I will also, in a moment, link to the 420 event page on our website, and that will also have a link to submit your questions there as well. Okay. So Dave, talked about Dave. We are also going to do, right at 420, a moment of silence. So leading up to 420, we will talk about the war on drugs and some of the many victims and how it has just really not played out well for our society. And then during 420, you may observe that moment of silence with us in the privacy of wherever you're at, however you would like. And we will also have some musical breaks in here. We've had a couple of really great artists say that they'll join us. We've got Jared Laxon from Fireside Hustle, who will do a few songs with us. And we've also got Tom Crail from Scripelli. He'll do some songs as well. And I will be getting that whole agenda up for you guys and posted to this link. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to link to the official 420 Stream-A-Thon page. And that's where I will update things throughout the next, week or so, week and a half. And as we add the agenda, as we add the link to submit questions, you'll be able to find that all through this. 420 Stream-A-Thon. Okay. And now that's there. Cool. I had just a couple more things I wanted to cover. I don't want to forget anything. Okay, so I just want to give a quick update on some political things that have been happening. This has all affected every aspect of everybody's life, right? COVID has changed a lot of things for everyone. And of course, one of those things are the primaries. There is a runoff election that is originally scheduled in May, but is now being moved. So the new primary runoff dates, early voting will start on July 6th. And the runoff election itself, the actual election day, will be July 14th. So we have on our website, texasnormal.org/voters guide. If you go there, you'll see the primary election voter guide is available for you. We're working to update it to create a primary runoff guide, so it's just the people that are in the runoff, so it's a little bit easier to sort through all that information. Heather and I with Texans for Responsible Marijuana Policy are working together on that. Of course, I created the voter guide back in 2012, and it's been really great to be able to work with them and have them really help us step it up. So we will keep that page updated with the new voter guide whenever it's out. It already has the new dates on there. Early voting starts on July 6th. Primary runoff election day is on July 14th. Now, it has also affected some of these political conventions. So as you guys know, the political process, the convention process is how political parties create their platforms. The platform is like the base of what the party stands for. It's their principles, their ideals, and there's a process through which all of these planks, if you want to imagine like the planks of a patio or something, the planks all come together to make the platform. And there's a process to getting them there. And so being participating in this process is extremely important because as of right now, all of the three, political parties, Democrats, Republicans, and Libertarians, have planks that support cannabis in different manners. And it's really important that we continue to protect those and improve those as time moves on. So my understanding is that as of right now, the Democratic Convention is going on for the same dates in June, but that it is going to be totally virtual. So more information to come on that. I just got an email from them regarding that, and I think that it's really an interesting way to go, and I hope that it enables for a lot of participation. The GOP, Texas GOP, has moved their convention dates from May to July 16th through 18th. Now, I'm not sure if they will have a virtual option. I'm just not clear on that. So any updates that I get, I will share with you guys as well. Additionally, sorry, more notifications. I'm just going to clear them real quick. They're a little bit distracting. Okay. And I don't know if you can hear them. I hope they're not distracting y'all too. Maybe next time I can figure out how to just like not even let them make noise. Okay, so then talking about the LP. So for those of you that participate in the Libertarian Party, you know that they have a whole separate process from what the Republicans and the Democrats do. And the date that they have to hold their state convention on is actually decided by statute. So Governor Abbott actually had to suspend some statute to allow relief for the LP to move their convention dates. Their convention dates were going to be next weekend in McAllen, and it looks like they will have some new dates set soon, and it looks like they're likely aiming for July. So more to hear on what that new date is for the LP, for the Libertarian Party. So Dems are going virtual. GOP has moved from May to July 16th through the 18th, and the LP was granted relief, and they will likely reschedule for sometime in July. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go and share the voter guide page with you. This voter guide page, as I mentioned, it will be updated with the, I'm sorry, I'm brain farting. it'll be updated with the new primary runoff voter guide edition, and we'll continue to update all of the dates and everything on there. So let me put that in there. Okay. So you should now see the link for the voter guide in the comments there. Okay. Last thing that I would like to talk about with you guys. Last thing in the month of April for the big 420 all month in your house. This is the last thing going on for us in April as of right now. So Saturday, April 25th, 1 p.m., we are going to be hosting a virtual patient meetup. And it's going to be focused on crafting testimony for the legislative session. We're really not sure what's going to be in store for how the legislative session will flow and move and how COVID may potentially affect it. So we want to really proactively work with the patient community to make sure that they have one-page testimonies ready for any hearings that might come up, anything that might happen during that time. So we're going to have a workshop on that and hopefully help you edit and get them ready. And then if you decide that you would like to give us permission, what we will help educate legislators with during the session is that we will take these testimonies, put them in binders, and deliver them to the legislature so that they can hear from people about the real life impacts that medical cannabis has had in their life. So let me post the link to that too. It's going to be a virtual Zoom meetup. And so I think, you know, it's hard to be away from people. I'm very fortunate to, you know, be with my family right now. And I still miss people. Like, I'm an extrovert with introverted tendencies. And so it's, my introverted tendencies are very full and my extrovert would really like some fun. So I'm going to go ahead and link into this, virtual meetup for patient testimony. And hopefully I'll be able to connect with you guys there and feed some of my extroverted tendencies. So virtual patient meetup. Okay, link is boom in the comments. So that was mostly what I wanted to cover. You know, I wanted to talk to you guys about COVID and what it means as cannabis consumers and what it means for the medical patients and the hemp process here in Texas. I wanted to talk about the action alert with you. I wanted to talk about the 420 specialty jar that we've got that will be a limited edition item only. Also the Stream-A-Thon. I listed all those amazing speakers that we have going and the musicians that are going to be joining us. And so I hope you'll tune into that, have that playing in the background on your 420. Join us for that moment of silence right at 420 to choose to consume your plant or hold space in silence. You can do whatever you'd like. We hope that you'll join us for that. And then I also wanted to update y'all on just what's happening with the runoffs and the convention process and then our virtual patient meetup that we've got going on. So that's all I have. I think what I'll do real quick is look through these. Oh, so many comments. Hi, guys. Hi, everybody. Okay, so let me see. Did I miss any questions? Y'all drop questions if you have any right now, and I will try to answer them real quick. I think I answered that one. Okay. Let's see. Will there be any Texas pro-cannabis medical doctors on the Stream-A-Thon? So the pharmacist will be joining us. I have the microbiologist joining us, but I do not have a doctor scheduled yet. We do have, like I said, a few more invites out, so we'll see, you know, who else is able to participate. And I will continue to update the web page for the 420 Stream-A-Thon to let you know any changes. As I said, an agenda will be posted soon, as well as the link to submit your questions. Let's see. I love you too, Justin. Let's see. Did Carol Baskin kill her husband? Y'all, I don't know. But thanks for keeping it light. I know that it's a stressful time for a lot of. I don't know what happened there. Sorry. I know it's a stressful time for a lot of us right now, and so Texas NORML is really dedicated to holding some virtual space for us to continue to educate and get together. So we're going to try to utilize technology as best as we can, and I hope that you guys will tune in to all of the fun stuff that we have going on this month. Some of it's fun, some of it's educational, and some of it's really quite serious. So all those links are in the comments, and if you want, I could probably make just like a little blog post with a link to this video stream and then a link to all of those resources. Would that be a good idea? I feel like that would be a good idea. I'm going to do it. I'm just going to do it. All right, guys, I have enjoyed seeing so many of my friends on this feed and so many of the Texas NORML Facebook followers and everybody else. So please feel free to share this with your friends so that they can learn a little bit about what's going on politically and events-wise here in Texas. And otherwise, just stay tuned to our emails and we'll try to keep you as updated as possible. You know, in theory, there still could be interim charges on the hemp program and the Texas Compassionate Use program. We just don't know what's going to happen with all those interim charges that have been suspended. So there's a lot going on, and we will keep you as updated as we can. So thanks all of y'all for your support. Buy your 420 jar because it's limited edition. I know I can't wait to see how much that logo pops against my greens. So I will see you guys later. Much love from all of the Texas NORML family. From us to you, big virtual hugs. And remember, don't puff, puff, pass. Rely on your own supply right now, you guys. Bye.